own podcast. With me is Hunter Davenport.
A lot of things you can do with a hatchet and a Nazi.
And Allan Muir.
I saw a fish.
And returning yet again, Erik
Fedorchak. Give me all your candy and your allowance.
High fructose corn syrup.
Nice jacket.
Nougaty center.
I love how Ghost Rider has become a bit.
Oh, well, that wasn't even Ghost Rider.
Yeah, that was Legends.
It's
just funny that you all that we immediately went into Ghost Rider after that.
I love it.
It's the best thing.
We are going to start with Arrow because it ultimately was ranked highest, and we didn't have Connor here to really sway things in a different direction.
He's got scurvy, everyone. So
yes,
Connor's
he
dead.
might be a zombie, so there may not be a Connor anymore. We'll have to find out.
Or we can just make a
sibling or something.
We can turn him into
He's
an
a time wraith. I think that's how that works.
He's the Black Flash now. We'll start.
You messed with the timeline too much.
Yeah, that's what happens.
Damn it, Connor.
Damn you.
You can't see it, but my fists are on my hips, and I'm just looking down like in a manner that's saying, "Really, Connor?"
You're just the disappointed dad right now.
Arrow this week. I think we'll start with the bads, because there were some bad ones, even though this was the highest ranked for me. Why was there hacking? Why have we not learned that hacking is bad?
Because they need to relate to the kids these days. What are the kids doing? Hacking.
Yeah.
Definitely that 18 to 32 demographic.
that's totally into hacking.
Yeah.
I mean, you got Felicity and Felicity 2, the return of Felicity 2, to the show, and they're doing Helix stuff again, which, for those who weren't with us last season, Helix and the Helix storyline is arguably the worst part of Arrow season 5. I feel like that's a good season. We all agreed.
It's kind of funny when
to
she
that.
got kicked out, though.
Yeah, that was, and then there's a whole episode where they're like, Felicity, this is going to end very wrong for us. Cut to months later. Felicity, this was a very bad idea. I know. That's the gist of this whole episode, basically. At least when Felicity is on screen. It's a lot of like, oh no, I told you so type stuff that gets pretty boring.
I think Arrow has this problem where they forget how to write Felicity every once in a while. Whereas, like, it seems like she's very inconsistent in how she acts and, like, the decisions she makes and stuff like that. But I think that's more indicative of, like, the CW's problem with writing women.
Yeah, they're very inconsistent with that kind of stuff. Like, the most consistent female on Arrow is Dinah at this point.
Yeah, I can see that.
And she's only been... Makes sense. Yeah, well, she's only been here for a little while. That's what makes that, kind of...
Well, then
she's already sassing everyone. She sasses... Dinah's sass level is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, what was it? The first or second episode, she was sassing everybody on the team, specifically Diggle, though.
Yeah.
He was giving a bunch of crap about his gun.
Yeah, that's what she does at this point. And I'm not against it. She's better than the previous Black Canary.
God.
The fact that you have to say that, yeah.
So Laurel is back. And again, I like Black Siren Laurel better than any previous Laurel.
I do like Black Siren. In that it's kind of self-aware in a way. It's like, look, she's a bad guy now. Y'all hate her. She's a bad guy.
Well, at least she did some interesting things this episode, unlike the first episode where she's just kind of there.
She just shows up, and you're like expected to know who she is, and like.
Well, beyond that, though, I mean, they try and make her seem like this big bad villain, and she really didn't do a whole lot.
Yeah.
And this one, she at least was involved in some sort of scheme.
Yeah, you get the idea that she's an underling, which is where she belongs because, and this is where it's interesting. Erik hasn't seen Flash season 2, if I'm not mistaken.
No.
So that's where she started. She started as an underling, and that's where she's been best used, when she's an underling, when it's not her plan. You know, when she's Adrian Chase's underling, when she's Zoom's underling, which is how she began as a villain that Zoom brought over from Earth 2.
Okay.
She's usually best served when she is somebody's underling and she's being used to undermine the heroes. And it was weird because I think season 2, she wasn't dead yet. She wasn't dead on that. But she wasn't dead
4.
yet. Yeah. But
comic books. She wasn't dead yet.
They really do follow the comic book rules of until you see a body and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
What happened to Thea?
She's still in a coma.
She's dead, Jim.
Yeah, she's in a coma. So 2 seasons from now, when she's like, "Hey, I'd like to come back to Arrow," they're like, "Okay, we'll write you back into the show."
She dies of a pulmonary embolism.
Oh, God damn it.
I would love that so much.
Why does this keep happening to me?
Yeah. But the crime part of this episode was really good, and the mystery part of this episode was good. Why is Laurel killing these people? What meaning do they have?
Can I say something?
Yeah, sure.
Carl, if you're going to be sleeping with my daughter, I insist that you call me Ben.
Yeah.
The bad guy was Benjamin Linus.
Yes.
I needed to get that off my chest because there is an island that's the center of the show.
Yes.
Yeah, good point. Yeah.
The Lost thing. Yeah. So here's the thing. I've never seen Lost.
I was waiting. I mean, like, utterly, like, I had a knife out. Waited to my throat. Set.
I thought you were going to threaten the TV. Like.
No, actually, I actually held the knife up to my computer screen because I was watching it via Amazon.
Mm-hmm. Damn it, Al.
And I was like, you better say something island related. You better.
You better. I don't care if it's about a peninsula. I don't care.
Could be about the Black Lagoon for all I care.
It could be an archipelago.
Could be something about polar bears.
God damn it, Al, that's good. Oh, God. I was stranded for 5 years on an archipelago. God damn it.
God.
Yeah. But yeah, that stuff was good. So we got the premiere of my new favorite character, who I'm calling Ollie Watch. I'll walk out. I'm walking off stage now. You can all kill me if you want. but yeah, we get Oliver manning the Overwatch station, which was actually kind of funny. I do think that they didn't need him to say, "Well, I'm just dumb," so many times.
Yeah.
Because we've seen just in like the first episode, he's very strategically intelligent, and he's clearly smart if you're in a combat situation. So I don't think we needed that thing of like, oh, I'm just a dumb guy and I don't understand math or whatever.
Well, it's also a cliche to have somebody who doesn't normally work with computers to the minute they get on one, they're like, well, shucks, I don't know nothing about these here doohickeys, so I gotta be careful when I'm talking to you.
What button do I push?
Yeah, like he obviously has a leadership role from prior episodes that I didn't see, but he would obviously still be able to command someone on what to do in a field of battle.
Yeah, obviously. And like when he's like, you've made this thing so easy that even I could run it. Like, that's as far as you need to go with that.
Actually, didn't he say his son could run it? How easy it was? Which his son is doing quadratic equations when he's 10. He's going to be able to rule the world in about 2 years.
Yeah, you could make him Overwatch pretty soon here.
Seriously.
Yeah, that's...
Have we figured out his age yet?
He's 10. Canonically, he's 10. We know that.
I'm
This
not
is-
sure though.
This is Hunter's reoccurring thing on every episode.
It should be, because it really is a mystery. How old is William?
So weird.
Well, one of the things I noticed in this episode was when the Arrow team was in the, I guess, the database or the server farm, whatever you want to call it, when they were fighting all the guys.
You mean
At
the
the one
base of the
point-
internet?
Yeah, exactly. Yes. Where
The internet
home
vault.
base- yes, the internet
Where the internet
managerial
resides.
office. There's one point where Arrow and whoever else was with him said to Felicity, are you going to be okay? She's like, yeah, just give me 4 minutes. So what proceeds to happen is Black Canary then uses her sonic blast to shoot guys into some of the server banks, which, I don't know, you would think they might be an important part
I
of
was
her
like-
figuring all of that out.
I was waiting for her to say, "Hey, don't fuck that shit up. We need that
Exactly.
stable."
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, they don't know how to write computers. um, like, say what you will about Mr. Robot and problems that show has had. They at least write computers accurately, and they never stray too far from reality. At least when that is concerned,
Yeah.
Other stuff maybe not so much, but they usually stick close to how computers actually work.
Well,
And-
yeah, it leaves you with enough of a, that seems right, so let's just go with that.
Yeah, and this show, I mean, it's not the first time it's done this, but I'm like, okay, can we not do hacking stories anymore? Although, as I say that, I really liked Caden James as a villain. I don't know this character from anything previously other than the last season, and he's basically faceless, like you see in the introduction to this episode with the sort of flashbacks and all that. But otherwise, that actor, Michael Emerson, he's really good. And
Yeah, he is.
if he's only here for half a season, that's great, because he brought so much to a role that isn't the most well written, but he just makes up for it. And if
Definitely.
he's the main villain, I'd be okay with that, because he is interesting and scary.
Well,
So-
I'm really hoping with just the way this episode ended, at least with when the last time we see him in the episode, it implies that he's got this bigger master plan going on, which I'm hoping carries on through the whole season, because I would
Yeah.
love for him to be the main villain for this whole season. That would pull me back every episode.
Yeah, and it would be interesting if the Richard Dragon character that they're going to introduce, if he's not the main mental villain, he's not the mental heavy. Maybe he's the replacement Laurel. At some point she gets captured or something and finally put in prison, and he comes in as the replacement Muscle, which would be more interesting, I think, to have
Or
sort of a
even-
muscle villain and a smart villain. So.
Or even Laurel proves ineffective, so they dispose of her in one way or another, either pull her off the field or send her someplace else, and that's when they bring in Dragon.
Right.
But yeah, any of those scenarios I think would be great.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really upset that Richard Dragon's the villain.
Yeah.
And that's not... I'm sure I'll be fine with it when he shows up, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't see why they would do that.
Yeah, from everything I know, he's DC's Iron Fist.
He's
kind of.
Iron Fist,
Yeah.
but I don't think he has any powers, if I remember correctly.
Well,
Hmm.
he was only
I can't remember.
around during the Jeff Lemire, Andrea Sorrentino run of Green Arrow during the New 52, which...
There's a previous Richard Dragon also.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
But I mean, I imagine they're pulling from the Lemire
Yeah.
run, because
That's what I've
it was a really
heard.
good run. So
Yeah. But yeah, otherwise, does anybody else have anything what are the good things from this episode that we maybe haven't brought up? Whoever has one off the top of their head. Other than the normal stuff of the action was really good. That's
It's really good.
it's a consistent thing with Arrow. The action is always good.
I just thought I really liked the episode. I'm really enjoying
Yeah.
Arrow this season.
It's a good season, and I'm glad that it's being consistent.
Yeah.
it's nice. Good Arrow is always great. So yeah, that's nice. And yeah, the action was good. The acting was mostly good. Felicity is really the only problem with this episode. Otherwise, it's all really good. Although I will say that by the end, I called her Felicity too at first. She earned her name. By the end, I learned it, and it is Olena. So yeah, that actress, she earned her place in the show by the end. So yeah.
Yeah, that's. I mean, I think that was my biggest problem with the episode was just Felicity was just kind of a non-entity in it. Like she was important to the plot they were trying to push forward, but they didn't use her very well.
Yeah, she was very poorly executed in the show, and it subtracted from the show quite a bit. But
can I blow your guys' minds?
Sure.
Ricardo Diaz Jr., the new 52 version of Richard Dragon.
Mm-hmm.
He know who killed his father?
Ollie?
John Diggle posing as the Green Arrow.
Oh crap! I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Shit.
Okay.
Whoa.
Okay, okay. The things are starting to make a lot more sense.
Yeah.
I think if I had to guess, they'll say that Richard Dragon's father was in the military with him, and that maybe Diggle isn't the stand-up guy that we think he is, or at least not to the same degree.
Or it could be just something that some sort of a mission that Diggle and Dragon's father were on. Something went wrong, and he holds Diggle responsible for his father's death.
Because that's definitely something they could do, and it would really. And Dragon knows that Diggle is the Green Arrow. Probably knows who everybody is. But yeah, that'd be interesting.
No, that's a really great twist. I totally forgot about that. Something else, and it's very minor that bothers me is so Mr. Terrific has these amazing tea orbs that he can use to find stuff everywhere. How is it then when he's fighting, all he can do is throw one and it comes back to him?
Because it looks cool.
No, it doesn't. It looks ridiculously lame. It
well,
looks like the worst thing.
It's much better. Again, last season they didn't really know what to do with Mr. Terrific. He's the thing that stands out as like, why is he here? Why does his hair suddenly change from an afro to cornrows?
Exactly.
It's a constant thing with Mr. Terrific. He should really just be Overwatch 2. Like that should be his role. And like they didn't have a distinct fighting style for him in the first season. It was a lot of like, I'm just gonna punch this guy, but punching isn't my thing.
Well, so it's like I said in the prior episode was that he is supposed to be kind of a Batman analog when they don't have access to Batman in the comics at least. So if they want to put him in, I get it, and they did a good job with his costume and his powers, but he doesn't work for this show, I don't think, at least what they're trying to do with him.
Yeah.
And it bothers me. Like, he could be a great character, but he's in the wrong show.
Also,
I agree with that.
This is something more of last season.
Go ahead.
That was the new 52 version of Richard Dragon that they sort of imposed on the Adrian Chase character. He sought out the League of Assassins and was taught, and he's...
So you're saying that they kind of used his New 52 story with Adrian Chase, kind of. Is that what you're saying right now? That they kind of did this already a little bit?
Yeah.
So that's what I'm getting. Okay. I'm not going to be doom and gloom, but like, it's not the first time that they've done that. That they've sort of repeated themselves. And if it works, it works. I I'm sure there will be some way to... I think that my idea of, like, Richard Dragon is, like, the physical bad guy, like, he's the physical threat, is probable. Very Defenders-y, where Sigourney was the mental threat, and Elektra was the physical threat.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Because if you're right, and they already did sort of mine that storyline, yeah, I don't know what they'll do. Because when they've tried to repeat themselves or do the same story twice in a row, it just doesn't work for them. So I'm not scared, but that is a little worrisome now that you bring that up. Okay, I don't have anything else on Arrow. Nothing from my notes. So unless somebody has sort of final thoughts on Arrow other than Slade is back next week, yay!
Yeah, that phone call Ollie got. Like, I don't envision Slade being that, like, polite when he's talking on the phone. Like, Ollie sounded like he was just talking with someone he's like a family member or whatever. He's like, okay, yes, okay, goodbye. Slade doesn't strike me as someone who would bother with any of the niceties. It would just be, my son's missing, I need your help, bye.
And I'll be like, yeah, I'll be right there.
Exactly.
Yeah, I get what you mean. I would like to hear the other side of that phone.
Yeah.
Hey, kid, I need your help. Can you show up? That was my Slade. You're welcome. But yeah, any other like closing thoughts on Arrow? I guess if anybody has anything, take that as a no.
Nope.
Okay,
Yeah,
so we will go with Flash. I do want to say for the record that Flash and Supergirl were kind of tied this week again because Connor isn't here.
Or else Supergirl would have been bottom row again.
Actually, it might have been like second, like, or even it might have been the winner of the week. So that's something to consider if Connor had been here and he had rated it high enough. So yeah, Flash this week. This was a good episode of The Flash.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, like
Half, and what I did see, I really enjoyed.
What was the last thing you
God.
saw? Just as a reference point.
What was the last thing I saw? Because I multitask when I watch these shows, so I don't remember.
Were you
what
playing
the
the
last thing I
video
saw.
games while you were watching Arrow?
Flash.
Possibly.
I may have been playing Monster Hunter while I was, as I tend to do.
fucking weeb shit.
Wow. Listen, I have to get the armor set. I can't, like, they'll take my kids away if I don't.
God damn it.
By the way, Hunter,
they'll
I'm mad
take
at you.
Archie away.
I'm
Why
mad
would I do?
because I'm actually looking forward to Monster Hunter World.
That's right. You're goddamn right.
Okay.
One of us.
Okay, so that's so I guess there are two main storylines in this episode. There's the Ralph Dibny storyline, and there's the Cisco, Gypsy, and Josh storyline. That was my favorite reveal of the episode. Josh. Which
Well, can we just take a second and appreciate that Danny Trejo can be put in anything and he plays the same character and it just works. It just works. It doesn't matter what he's in.
It does not matter. It can be Dusk Till Dawn. It can be Once Upon a Time in Mexico and Desperado. It can be Spy Kids, and it works every time. So
yeah, it's varying, like turning what rating you want him to be. Is he going to be G-rated? Okay, cool, but it's still just Danny Trejo's character. Is he going to be R-rated?
He's even the same when he's wearing women's clothing in those TV commercials.
God damn it. Yeah,
Please
Danny
don't tell me
Trejo.
Danny Trejo.
Yeah, that made me so happy to see him pop up in this episode. I had no idea it was coming.
I'm glad the uncle from Spy Kids showed up in The Flash.
Yeah, I'm glad the janitor from Halloween 2007 showed up in the fight.
Holy shit.
Oh, God, why? Back to the abyss with you, evil creature.
Remember when Michael Myers drowns him in a toilet? Remember that?
No, I burned that movie from my memory.
I've never
I
seen
actually
that.
like that movie, but it's not the best.
I stand with John Carpenter on that.
Valid point. But yeah, Danny Trejo's good.
Yeah.
I believe him as this dad who's angry about his daughter, and I like I'm going to hunt you for 24 hours.
Remember
I hunted her last boyfriend.
Remember the moment that he sees Harry?
Yeah, you look like somebody I sent my daughter to kill.
Well, when he's talking to Cisco in the coffee shop, and he's like, "Oh, I hunted my last daughter's boyfriend. Oh, what happened to him? Oh, I don't know. Oh, he got away? No, I don't know what happens to people when they die." That was perfect. That was perfect.
His delivery is so... God damn it. Yeah, he's great. And that was my favorite part of the episode. Not to put down the Dibney part of this episode, but that was the part that was like the most fun. And I was like, I really want to know how Cisco's going to get out of this. And I like his pep talk with Harry.
Yeah.
And Harry's like, "You're smart. You need to show him that you're smart. He's strong. You're smart. Use that to your advantage."
Well, no, wasn't it? Wait, you're smart. You're weak in here, but you're smart up here. Like you're not helping.
Love it.
You're not helping Harry.
So good.
Yeah.
Harrison Wells, the best pep talker ever.
I love that we get a Reverse Flash mention or name drop.
Yeah.
And I love the moment that when Danny Trejo pulls out the knife and starts cutting out of the shield.
Because of course he would use a knife to cut through some sort of technologically advanced shield. Like, not have some sort of doodad on him, just, "Oh, I pulled this knife out of," where did he say? Like, some sort of layer of an abyss.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think that's right. But yeah, I love that when he shows up, he's just like blowing up that apartment.
Mm-hmm.
That was really good.
Well, that was totally when Cisco was going for a condom, too.
Yeah.
Like, he just, like, the most ridiculous way to be interrupted is to have somebody's dad show up and shoot power bolts out of his hands at you.
Yep. Ruin your Matrix poster. I love that. I love that he has a Matrix poster so much. And then the Dibney stuff, which is actually all very good also.
Yeah.
He's
that was great.
Private detective who had a problem with Barry. And that stuff's really good. Their interactions are very good. His face when Barry comes into the room for the first time, I liked that a lot.
You know who he reminded me a lot of? Mainly his face? Evan Peters.
Who's that?
From American Horror Story and other
The dude who all the girls like, but he's a sociopathic murderer.
Gotcha.
Also Quicksilver from in the X-Men.
Yeah.
movies.
Yes. In the best scene in all of X-Men Apocalypse.
Oh,
That was your time, Hunter.
God, no, listen. It's just, even then, it's just a retread of the scene from First Class. So
Yeah, but it's still very well done.
You mean Days of Future Past?
Days of Future Past. Sorry,
Yeah, if he had been in First Class, that would be great. But
yeah, I'd be okay with it.
But yeah, that's the only good scene from that. No, that movie's actually very mixed bag. That movie, but mostly bad.
It's mostly shit. It's mostly shit.
Yeah. But I do
there's a reason we tell it to go F itself every single episode.
Yep. I do like Dibney hitting on his last client. That was really good.
And I love the thing. Well, I'm mad that there's no Sue. Yet.
Yeah. He's
show up.
He's not in a position to have already been married to a character. He's not in that role yet. I don't think.
I love that every time someone walked out of his office, and then someone new came in, he would say he would say something different. He would say, "So change your mind."
Yeah, that was good. That's how much it's worth for you. I do love Iris's reaction when she enters Star Labs and she sees his legs.
Yeah.
It's just this long scream.
Well, and she just keeps screaming as she walks up his leg into the operating room, whatever you want to call it.
And it just grows. It just grows and grows and grows. Yeah, that was great.
And Joe finally puking after 4 years. At 4
years,
years,
I finally puked. Yeah. God damn. It was so good.
Well, that and just Joe's whole through line through most of the episode, like, what do we do? What are you talking about, babies? I'm not. What do you mean? Just come on, we gotta go do this. Like, and just Joe, you've got a glow about you. No, I don't. No, what do you? What? Just, no.
Joe is the best. Yeah, that stuff was really good.
Also, a good part with Danny Trejo was he sees an elongated man on like footage of him. He's like, "Plastoid!"
Yeah, he just goes hunting for him.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong. In the video that he sees Ralph Dibny in, is he scratching his crotch while he's lying in that bed?
I think so.
I think he is.
That's
Yeah.
what
Probably.
it looked like to me. Like he
So
was
good.
eating something and scratching his crotch. But yeah.
Yeah, that's really good. And then, God, there's so much stuff in this episode. The mayor storyline, which is it's not bad. I kind of like that they went for like a human villain. I wasn't against that because we could use more of those. But he was very like taken right out of a detective movie from like the 30s, even down to the casting.
Oh yeah.
Which-
Yeah, like you said in the chat earlier, it's seriously crime noir.
Yeah, it's very like old school 50s. We'll catch him, see? That kind of thing. So yeah, that was not the best, but it wasn't the worst either.
Well, I think they were doing that specifically because of including the elongated man. Because I mean, he was supposed to, in the comics at least, he's always been a world-class detective.
Right.
You know, before having his powers, or before you count his powers, you would have to count
It was him and
his
Sue.
powers of deduction. Yeah,
Him
exactly.
going and solving mysteries.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Something that didn't happen with Hal or Carol, Barry and Iris, Jay and Joan, Clark or Lois.
Thank you, Al. Thank you, Allan. We get it.
Wally or Linda.
We get it. They were the Warrens before. But with actual mysteries. Hey.
Exactly. They're fictional characters with more realistic mysteries.
Yeah. But yeah, that stuff was fine. His reaction to the mayor and his jokes are great. You know, I should say it's 70% alcohol. He's like, you should have led with that. That was
Yeah.
That was really
I
good.
liked his I'm not going to blackmail you, but then I'm going to blackmail you moment.
Yeah, that was good.
Wait, no,
You're
it's not
blackmailing me
no,
not to blackmail you.
I'm not blackmailing you. No, you're totally blackmailing me.
You're blackmailing me so that you don't have to blackmail me. It's just the best. Yeah, that was pretty good. I also liked. Okay, I guess we can go into the bad stuff now. I don't like Barry revealing his identity. How many people know?
Yeah.
Eric, you don't know this, but by this point, the tally on the people that know his identity is up to 75, maybe.
Are you fucking kidding me?
It has to be. If you're including all the universes, if you're including all the people that aren't on the show anymore, yeah, it's got to be around 75 at this point, I think. It's in there.
That's fucking retarded.
But here's the thing, you're including the cast of all three of the other shows. So that's the thing.
All right, that's fine. So let's take out all the people who work directly with superheroes and are a superhero within the confines of the CW universe, that still leaves easily 50 people who should not know who he is.
Yep. And vice versa on the other shows. Like, very few of them should know that Oliver Queen is the Green Arrow, but they do, so.
Oh, fuck's sake. Whatever. All right, fine. I mean, no, there is no excuse for it. No, there really
it's a problem with the show, yeah. It's a problem with all the shows. They're very bad at keeping his identity secret. But, and it's really dumb.
This is the first time that Elongated Man has appeared on, or in live action. He was on Justice League Unlimited in the episode The Greatest Story Never Told, which was written by Andrew Kreisberg and was about Booster Gold.
Oh, snap. That's right. He is in that episode.
Yeah, where everyone kept complaining or kept confusing Booster with Green Lantern.
So good.
And there's a line that, like, it's Booster and Elongated Man on crowd control, and the reason that Elongated Man is on crowd control is that Plastic Man was already fighting Mordru, and they did not need two stretchy guys.
No, that was, before you go into the negatives, that was one of the things I really liked about Ralph, was that he looked like what I thought the character should look like in a live-action version. Like, it just worked really well to have him in the show looking the way he does.
Yeah, based off the art that I've seen, he does look very accurate, and that's nice. Yeah. So, yeah, I guess negative is, what's with the fat stuff? Like, the body shaming of Elongated Man, where they're like, wow, he's gotten real heavy as they're holding him over the roof or whatever, and the fat suit stuff, and it's like,
because it's funny.
I guess
because body shaming, yo.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's not like he's noticeably fat. Like, it's not.
He's.
It was a pillow.
Yeah, not even a pillow. Like, it's not like a pregnancy hump or anything. It's not like Ellen in that one movie or whatever. It's like barely anything. Like, yeah, it got real annoying. It was like he had a loaf of bread under his shirt, and everybody was acting like he was real fat.
See, I felt the opposite. Like when Barry first said something to him, and he's like, "Yeah, I got out the spare tire." Like, it looked like when a little kid is like, "I'm a big fat guy," and puts like a pillow underneath his shirt.
Like when they're like puffing their chest out or whatever to look fatter. Like, that's what it felt like. And it was all for that joke about the abs. That's what it was for. It was also, he could be like, 6-pack again. Like, we needed that. I mean, I get it. The actor worked hard to get those abs, sure, whatever, but it was pointless. I do like that Elongated Man, as far as we know, he's the most unkillable character in this show.
Yeah, because Barry punched him, and his fist went into his mouth.
Yeah, and he got shot in the head. Point blank, and then he just, like, sneezed the bullet out.
No, snot bullet was the term.
Oh, yeah. But yeah, the episode's overall, it's good. The thing that really knocked it down in my rankings was the weird cigar montage.
Yeah.
Do you remember this?
Yeah, that was real odd.
You didn't get to this, Hunter, but there's this thing where after Joe he's in a helicopter, and he's like, and he's been saved by Barry, and he's like, Barry, Cecile's pregnant. And that's how it comes out. And then cut to commercial. It comes back, and there's this weird music playing. Like, it's out of, like, a weird, like...
It's like a dream sequence.
Yeah. It's like a trailer almost, though. Yeah. And they're, like, dancing, and everybody's dancing to music, and then Joe comes out with, like, a box of cigars, and they start smoking, and it's
No. I thought it happened after Barry got him out of the helicopter.
It did.
After he ran... on Elongated Man's arm.
Yeah. I said in the helicopter. So cut from the helicopter. He ran up into the helicopter and then cut to commercial. And then we come back. And it's this weird sequence. And Joe comes out with a cigar box. It makes no sense.
He just smokes cigars? What?
No, it's like it was like a music video in the middle of the Flash. It was like
What I honestly thought.
Why?
What I honestly
Why?
thought. Honestly, I thought Joe died, and that was supposed to be like.
It was like a Twin Peaks dream sequence.
I thought it was supposed to be like the beginning of season 2.
Oh yeah,
Where they.
I know what you mean.
Where they had this very happy, like, moment, and I was waiting for the moment to come in where they're at his funeral.
Mm-hmm.
What's up?
It would have been really weird, but yeah, this weird dream sequence. I don't remember where it goes from there. Because after that, it's all blank.
Also, some background on Ralph, or this version of Ralph Dibny.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you're right.
Barry cost Ralph his job, and people called him, or were calling him, a dirty cop because he planted evidence.
Yeah. We do learn Cynthia's name.
On a quick side note, sorry, with the whole cigar scene, like with him, it was like a dream sequence. That kind of that would work if he died after he got told that.
Say what?
What just
No,
happened?
you guys were saying that the cigar sequence was much
Hey,
like
Elroy.
a dream sequence, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, it would be perfect that it was actually Joe died after he got told that he was going to be a dad again.
That would be
And
great.
it was all just an extended dream sequence.
The whole episode. That'd be great.
His heart couldn't take
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, exactly. That's why he just went blank at the end of that last episode, and he went into cardiac arrest shortly after that. Anyways,
that's
back to where you
interesting.
were.
But yeah, and then we do get the DeVoe stuff. We get like the confirmation that now Barry knows DeVoe is behind it all.
And Ralph did a moment, or he did something that he does in the comics.
I didn't realize that was in the comics, so I didn't even notice it till somebody brought it up.
Yeah.
But it's a thing where he like wiggles his nose, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Which, okay, I get it. It's comics. Comics, they do dumb stuff because it's comics. And sometimes that stuff translates on the screen in a way that's interesting. Sometimes it does not. Why did you put the wiggling nose in there if only like the most hardcore fans are going to even notice it?
Because
Like, why make
people-
those special effects artists do that? Do you get what I'm saying here?
I understand that argument, but
it was more of an Easter egg.
Including elongated man in the show is already like all right, this is something really only the comics people are going to understand, so we might as well go whole hog with it.
Yeah,
And
they're just going to be like, why is Mr. Fantastic in a DC show?
Okay,
Two
well,
things.
as long as those effects artists didn't have to work too long on that nose, I guess I'm fine with it.
They name dropped Ralph Dibny in season 1, episode 6 or 7.
Really?
Yeah, remember
Wow.
with
They've been setting this up for a long time then.
remember the episode where Barry lost his speed?
Oh, yeah,
Which
right.
And
one?
Eobarth was naming the people who died after the particle accelerator blew up.
Wait, so he's supposed to be dead?
No, I'm saying it's one of the things that DC failed, or not DC. The writers, it's a plot hole. They did the same thing with Al Rothstein in season 2.
That's really weird. I didn't ever notice that.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Oh, and
Well, go ahead.
I like that. Even though he didn't choose the name Elongated Man, Barry threw out, "How about Plastic Man?" And I loved his reaction to it.
That was good. So yeah, I guess it's a hard episode to talk about because there's a lot of good stuff right next to bad stuff. I do.
Well, and there's so much going on in the episode.
Yeah.
Too.
I do like the resolution to the Trejo stuff. How Cisco's like, stop or I'll stop you. Because Cisco's powerful, yo. He was protecting the city before Barry came back. So I like that. So yeah, I don't really have much else to say. Overall it's a good episode of The Flash. The comedy isn't too much. It didn't overwhelm the serious bits, which is something that we've been worried about earlier on in this season, and it could still be a problem later on. So overall, I like this.
They sequestered the comedy enough from the A storyline of Wally and what's going on with Elongated Man, and then they had Cisco doing his own thing, and they didn't really cross paths until the very end of the episode. So it just kind of worked out better that way.
Yep.
Is it still what's is it confirmed that Wally's going to Legends or something?
I mean, he said it at the end of last episode that Wally is gone now. So yeah, Wally left. He'll be back at various points. Like, he has to come back every once in a while.
Is he pulling a Henry Allen / Jay Garrick thing?
I think it's more of what's going on with Thea at the moment. Like, that actor and that actress, they want to do other things with their time. They want to explore, other career paths. They've spent enough time on these shows that doing movies or other TV shows is more beneficial at this point. So they're looking into that. And also, if you paid attention to Kenyan over the summer, I might be mistaken, but I do believe he came out as gay over the summer. So that may have something to do with this. I mean, it might, Allan. It might change the kind of roles that he wants to play. He might want to play a gay character on screen now. So yes, it could change things. That could be like a thing that he wants to do, is to focus on playing characters who reflect who he is. So that's always a possibility. But I don't know. And it could just be a personal choice of, I want to take some time off of acting now. So who knows? So yeah, that's a thing. Any final thoughts on this Flash, so we can sort of let Hunter go, I guess?
No, it's pretty good. Pretty good show.
I really enjoyed it.
No. Okay, we're gonna move into Supergirl and
with that, I'm gonna bounce out.
Yeah.
So you can follow me on Twitter.
Yep.
Oh, actually, don't follow me on Twitter. Never mind.
No,
okay, bye.
Cosmic or Stroke Out Millionaire on Instagram.
That's it. Follow me on
Yep.
Instagram. All right.
Yep.
Peace out, guys.
Bye.
See ya.
Bye.
Fuck X-Men Apocalypse. All right. Supergirl. This will be a real interesting conversation between me and Erik, and occasional interjections. Okay. This was a good episode of Supergirl.
Yeah.
Color me
once again,
surprised.
two in a row.
Yeah, really good. I'm oftentimes the defender of Supergirl on the show. I have been since we started, it seems.
Whoa.
And
what about me? I'm here too.
You're usually on my side, but there are times, especially during last season, where it was everybody else against me. Like, everybody else had it at the very bottom, and there were weeks where I had it at the top. So, yeah, it's usually me on Supergirl's side, usually. But this was a strong episode. Even the rain stuff, which hasn't been the strongest stuff, was kind of good.
It worked so well because it was doing something different than having this enemy that Kara couldn't defeat using her superpowers, or knew some secret way to weaken her. Like, it was attacking her beliefs essentially.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know what you mean. And it kind of did what we've been saying Supergirl should be, which is like, it's kind of like a Twilight Zone, Star Trek TOS type of thing where it's a morality tale, and it's like it's asking you questions about your moral stance on certain things and what position you're going to take, and it questions whatever position you might have already. I'm someone who's fairly straightforward when it comes to things like freedom of speech, and it even like pushed on that button a little bit in a way that it's like, okay, I can see that, and so it did kind of what we said they should do, and I have to give it praise for doing what was asked. And there's a real interesting story that could be told, and I think they did a pretty good job with it. I don't quite think the cult leader character, whose name slips my mind, Thomas, yeah, I don't think he should have turned all the way evil at the end.
No, I thought that was a real weird turn.
Yeah, I think it should have been one of his followers who went too far. It should have been one of his followers who went really crazy. It would have been more interesting if that girl had done it. That would have been a more interesting twist of sort of she really believes so hard. She believes hard enough to tell her boyfriend to join the church with her the way that she did. Mm-hmm. And we've seen that, and so the idea of her jumping to blowing up an entire stadium doesn't seem that far off.
I don't know. I even think taking it that angle was a misstep to an extent. And I mean, it's a minor one because it still worked in the greater plot scheme. But even just having them screw something up with this Kryptonian artifact they have and not realize they did, and then have them have to come in and save them, I think would have been a more realistic thing. Because it took them from being, mind you, a religious cult, but still one that was relatively harmless, I guess, with the exception of, putting themselves in peril's way to be saved by Supergirl. It took them from being a cult to zealots.
Yeah.
And that just didn't work for me.
It did take them from two kinds of religious organizations that are very closely related to each other. The terrorist element and the just a cult. And they're two very closely related groups that usually what happens is a cult spawns into sort of a terrorist-y element. But
definitely.
Can I just say how powerful
it confused them.
How powerful the ending of the episode was?
The ending's very strong. Yeah.
Especially the scene where it's with Jean and his father.
Yeah. That stuff's really good. A lot of this episode, I think, it nails a lot of things. And even though I don't like Ruby as a singer, I think she's really bad. The song choice was good, and Alex's reaction.
Yes.
It really she nailed it, and the actress who plays Alex from the very beginning, she's been one of the standouts on this show. If you were to go back and watch season 1, you're watching it for her and Melissa Benoist and how they play against each other and how believable they are as siblings. And that's where some of the best moments in the show come from. And the ending of this episode is not an exception to that at all. The way that they act off of each other it's great. It's the show does not deserve performances that are this good at all. So it's
something I'm noticing just from starting to watch these shows week to week. Supergirl is quickly becoming the emotional core of all of the CW shows because they're the ones who are handling it really well and putting out great performances from the actors they have to show these aspects of this superhero world. Because with all the other shows, they don't have the time to do that because they have all these other things that they're trying to tell you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Supergirl's always done that. Flash, when it does it well, it does it just as well, I think.
It was the emotional core mainly in season 1 and 2. Or no,
Yeah.
mainly 1
When it was just Arrow and Flash, though. Like, it was... And both shows were very highly emotional, but...
Oh, no, I'm talking about with the stuff between Barry and Henry.
Yeah, that's in season 1, mostly. There's some of it in season 2, but not as much. Henry is barely in season 2, actually, comparatively. But it's the stuff with Barry trying to find his mom's killer in season 1 and that stuff. That is something to jump back to Flash for just a moment. They cleared his board where he was investigating his mom's murder, so that was a nice little moment. But so back to Supergirl real quick. But yeah, the emotional stuff is really good in Supergirl, and this episode nails it so hard in so many moments. Eric, I don't know if do you have a rough idea of the pilot of Supergirl?
No, not really.
So that airplane opening is from the pilot.
Okay, no, I knew about that. Yeah.
So yeah, and that was a very strong moment. And for a second, I was like, "What's going on here? What's with this airplane stuff?" And I was like, "Oh shoot, that's the beginning of the show. That's how the show opened." And the way that they show that, and for a second, I thought, "Is this going to be cheesy? Is this going to be overdone?" But the way that he shot, whoever directed this episode, the way that they directed the other religions that are represented on that plane, I thought it was very well done, and it was very okay, it's obvious who these religions are, who these people are, what they are representing, and it's not insensitive in the way that they're showing them. It's very respectful of those different cultures.
It wasn't caricatures.
Yes. And it showed them very well, and it showed that they all sort of depend on their faith in this crisis, in this moment where they all think they're going to die. And I just love the way that they use that, and that's how he starts this cult, is he sees Supergirl out on the wing.
Yeah.
And it gets called back later on, and he says, "Do you really think that somebody who's looked into the eyes of God wouldn't be able to recognize them?" Lines like that are just great, and that's a really strong moment in this episode that I really loved.
I like the ending or not the end.
Oh yeah, with him in the prison.
Koval. Like how he says, or how he pretty much promises he won't say anything.
Yeah, that was nice. And I like him. He sort of has his own little mission that he's going to put himself on. I'm going to help you get back to trusting yourself.
Your purity of purpose.
What I like that. I like this character who really believes that he's doing the right thing, and objectively, without sort of the blowing up a Kryptonian pillar, he's not all bad. He is a good guy. He's just misguided, and I like that.
Yeah, he's doing the right things for the wrong reasons.
Yeah, and I really like that this wasn't, there's an alien and the alien's mad.
Exactly, or this woman who runs a Wiccan shop is going to electrocute you.
Yeah, that was nice. That was really nice.
Well, I was pleasantly surprised at how good a role or how good a performance Chad Lowe put in. Because the minute I saw him, I was like, oh no, but he did a great job.
Yeah.
And being the lesser of the Lowe brothers is probably not exactly the best thing
Chad
to have
Lowe
on
is
your
directing
resume.
episode 7.
Oh.
Of this season.
Wow. That's it. Maybe, do you think he's in that episode a little bit? If he's a constant thread throughout the season, I'm not against that.
No, I'm not against it at all.
I really liked his character in this episode, so that would be interesting if she constantly goes back and she has discussions with him and is like, I don't know how I feel about this. He's her objective person who's going to give her encouragement, probably. He's going to have a positive thing to say, but
Possibly
he did say his mission is to help.
Is called Wake Up.
Wow. Okay, this could be. And he's not in the trailer for next episode, so that's interesting.
Next,
They're kind of hiding
episode
him.
5 is directed by Kevin Smith.
Oh, yeah, that's
Okay.
right. This is episode 4. So if he comes back in 7, that's great. Oh God,
And there's
I have nothing against the Kevin Smith episodes, but I always think that they're meh. I think they're
not
kind
as
of
good as his Flash episodes.
Are they
Yeah.
are they very pandery towards the comic fans?
no. They're just like
No,
there's
he
nothing special about them.
he just directs them.
Uh,
has no creative.
Yeah,
Oh, okay. Okay.
but they're never like. I feel like people put hype on things where it doesn't belong. He has said himself, "I'm just directing the episodes the way that they direct them. I'm not coming in and messing up the formula in any way."
Okay.
And I feel like there's always like a thing of like, I won't name any names, but people who are posting like, I'm so excited for Kevin Smith to bring his style to the Flash again. It's like,
Does Kevin Smith really have a style?
I mean, in his movies, but not as a TV director. So that always bothers me just a little bit.
I mean, he
Yeah.
directed one of the best episodes ever of The Flash.
Right. And that's, I think you'd put that on the script in all of those cases where it has worked. So I don't know. We'll see about that. But yeah, Supergirl
What exactly happened at the end
Good.
of the episode?
in this episode.
Yeah, with
With the Rain character, or at least
Well,
who's going to
oh.
become Rain?
That
no,
was-
I'm talking about the hand on the
The hand on the window
yeah.
or on the mirror. I don't know what happened with that.
No, it was like underground.
Oh, so that was like
Oh.
Was that supposed
So
to be
that's-
like a flashback?
no. So that's a Kryptonian ship that it's only in the first episode of the season for like a split second.
Yeah, didn't they show it near the end of the first episode?
Yeah.
Like it was
It-
after the torpedoes or whatever hit a few times, and they showed
Yeah,
that
and
reveal.
It was like unearthed, and something to do with this pillar at the end of this episode, because they do like a little flashback 22 hours earlier of that like thing of the obelisk like blowing up
Yeah.
inside the Earth's core. I'm guessing. I don't know how deep
Well,
down that
that
is.
That was something that bothered me initially when you see Kara there and she drilling a hole
Uh-huh.
with her heat vision. I'm guessing with her X-ray vision. Does she have X-ray vision? Have they established that?
Yeah, she
Um,
does.
Okay.
Oh yeah, yeah. I
That
guess.
she knew, like, okay, there's no important wiring or pipes below this area, so I can just blast a
Yeah.
hole down to the center of the earth.
I mean, it is a stadium. I don't know how deep stadium what foundations are, but I think you can imagine that they're pretty deep. So she might not have had to worry about that. I don't know.
True.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, it would be interesting if they were like, well, some power went out, but otherwise everything was fine.
Yeah, like the eastern part of the city lost all its power after this strange explosion last night. We don't know why.
Yeah, but hey, she's Supergirl. She probably helped. But yeah, that was. But I think what happened, the obelisk, it reactivated that ship, I guess. And the
Yeah, I thought it was the explosion is what because it was probably close to the area where that was, or at least somewhat able to transfer through the bedrock or whatever. The vibrations just set everything off.
yeah, some sort of signal went out, and I guess it reactivated the. I assume cryopods. I assume that's what
Something
those.
along those lines. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
it looked like liquid of some sort, so cryopod is probably the best way to put it.
Yeah, and my big guess is that they are followers of Rain, that they were sent on their ship to escort Rain's ship that showed up in the season 2 finale at the very end, the sort of setup for next season. But yeah, that was interesting. I think that's just we're gonna have Kryptonians walking around for the next however many episodes. So new Kryptonians, I guess.
I do agree with
Kryptonian
that.
monks, I guess. Yeah. So I think we've basically covered this episode, unless there's something I'm forgetting.
No, I mean, I think we pretty much covered it. It was all positive, really, for me.
Huh.
Like, I can't think of a single thing during the episode that I disliked. Like, even the inclusion of the... Was that the Jeff Buckley version of Hallelujah playing at the end?
I think it might have been.
Yeah, like, normally I cringe when I hear that because it is one of the most overused songs for dramatic purposes. Yeah, pretty much. But it worked. It worked at the last scene, so I was completely fine with it.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I can't think of anything that I didn't like from this episode, really. Maybe some of the effects with the fire stuff wasn't the best, but that's fire's the trickiest thing to do. Watch one of Connor's favorite movies, Lawnmower Man, to get confirmation of that. On
that note, I will say after the probe exploded and Kara's stepsister, I can't remember her character's name, pushes Chad Lowe down to the ground. Like, yes, the fire didn't hit him in the face, but fire does emit heat all around it. And if it's that hot, it's probably going to give him, like, third-degree burns all over his face.
You're like, how's he not looking like Mick Rory?
Yeah. Yeah.
Speaking of
they
Mick
should at
Rory,
least have a tan. Well, that brilliant segue, Allan. I think that we will segue to the Legends of Tomorrow. Again, I said this in the chat. This wasn't a bad episode. This was a very good week. This is one of the more consistent weeks. And so far this season, I'm seeing consistency in all the shows that is appreciated. But Legends is not... It's not what it was last season. Last season, I think, is like the gold standard. But this is a good episode.
The Legion of Doom.
Yeah, they had a very compelling, immediately interesting group of bad guys for that.
Oh, wow.
And
that's kind of crazy. I didn't realize they had the Legion of Doom the last season. I definitely need to check that then.
Well, technically, it was at first a 2-man Legion of Doom, then a 3-man, then a 4-man.
Yeah, it became 4-man. Well, no, it became 4-man like episode 16 because I'm including Evil Rip in that. But yeah, that was interesting. That helped last season, having very strong villains. Who, if you've been watching any of the CW shows, you have like an established history with these characters, so it helped make the show just immediately more interesting. Whereas we still don't know who this main villain for this season is.
We haven't even gotten any hints at who it could be.
Yeah, like they've said a name which apparently isn't in the comics. Like nobody really knows who this character is. It does feel like a thing where, once we know who this really is, everybody's going to know, and that's why they're keeping it secret.
Oh, so they're pulling a Flash?
Kind of. I do get that feeling a little bit. There's sort of...
I don't want to go back to Flash right now. But
right.
We got a nice season 3 flashback.
Yeah, we did. We got 2 season 3 flashbacks to one of the better episodes, and Babatar. But yeah, we got who was that character? The guy with David Dismerchant or whatever. I can't remember the character. He was like a wizard type character. He's from like the 45th century or whatever. But he showed up.
Abracadabra?
Yeah.
Yes, Abracadabra.
Okay.
He's one of the better episodes from that crap pile. But yeah, that was interesting. But yeah, they're doing a good job with this Legends episode. Lots of callbacks to the crossover, which Erik, you can watch the crossovers without like knowing any of the season-long arcs really.
Okay.
So you can just like go back and start with Flash. I want to say it's episode 11. It should just be called Invasion.
Flash episode 8, Arrow episode 8, Legends episode, I think 6 or 7.
Yeah, and they'll just all be called Invasion. So you shouldn't be confused by anything. The Arrow episode, is also their 100th episode, so they're kind of doing that kind of thing of like celebrating past characters. So that one might be a little bit confusing,
And,
but it's still...
I can read Wikipedia or articles about the episode while I'm watching, so it'll clear things up. Yeah.
Yeah, but otherwise you can watch all of the flashback or all of the crossovers that they've done out of context without needing to know anything. They really like drop the season-long plot during those usually.
Well, except for the first one.
The first, you mean like the two crossovers that weren't really a two-parter? There was like a Flash crossover.
I'm talking about Flash versus Arrow.
Yeah, that was two different crossovers, though, remember?
Yeah.
So it was one night of the Flash, and then Arrow showed up, and then the next episode was Arrow, and then the Flash showed up. And as far as we know, they say it in the show, like a couple days had passed. So instead of writing one long episode, they just wrote two separate episodes that take place virtually at the same time. They didn't know what the crossovers were at the time yet. They hadn't figured it out. So it's a little bit weird. But yeah, the first official crossover where like it's a part 1, part 2, you can watch that on its own too. It's I don't remember what that one's called either, but that one's like it's basically a Legends backdoor pilot kind of.
Okay, cool.
So yeah, that's the thing you can do. But yeah, this was a good episode. I do think they went overboard. I mean, I think we should start with the bad one on this one. They went overboard with the ET stuff and with the Steven Spielberg stuff.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
Even you could say Stranger Things stuff. But that got a little boring, a little irritating at some points.
Well, was it am I remembering correctly, was this episode also where they made a reference to Die Hard? Or was that in another episode this week?
I don't remember.
I watched all the episodes back to back today, and I remember somebody saying like, "I've got the machine gun now." And...
Oh yeah, no, that's Cisco. He's like,
okay.
"I've got you trapped now" or something. Ho ho ho.
Yeah. Okay.
But
I just there were a couple different 80s references, and I mean, mind you, I'm sure that's part of the course for a lot of these shows that they'll throw in things like that here and there. But it struck me as really funny that there were very blatant ones in Legends today, or on this particular episode, and then the other episodes of these shows I watched this week. There were a few others that I noticed. Anyways,
can I say
they make a lot of them.
One of my favorite bits, or from one of my favorite things in the episode.
Sure.
Is that the like right at the beginning? The trust fall?
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah.
Ow.
And how Mick remarks that when they fix the whole whatever is going on with Ray, he's going to kill him again.
Yeah. I'm gonna kill him again. God, I love Mick so much. But yeah, Mick has some great moments in this episode. I love it. He's like, "I'm proud of you, haircut." That was good. It's like, I would never steal or whatever. And I love. There's some good bits with young Ray. Those were my friends.
And how young Ray was waving goodbye to them.
Yeah.
Goodbye. See you later.
I can't believe this kid still thinks we're friends. God, that was so good.
It actually made me feel really bad for Ray.
Yeah, kind of. Like, oh, this explains so much of how Ray acts in various episodes. But this was a really good episode for Ray and like developing him as a character.
Yeah.
We got a lot of, like I said, callbacks. The horn rimmed glasses guy throughout this episode is a character from the flashback who has been tracking these aliens since who knows when. And he's sort of like a...
Yeah, he was from the crossover.
Yeah, and there's like a moment where he's fighting with Diggle's wife over not seniority, but jurisdiction or whatever. And he's kind of like a minor human antagonist for a good episode or so.
and
I don't remember. I don't remember the crossover that well. I haven't seen it since we aired. So if you got something, you gotta.
Kara mentions
Oh yeah.
about the DEO on Earth, and they start one in Antarctica.
Oh yeah.
And that's where
right.
the agent or the guy is going to be sent.
Oh yeah, I remember that. That was good. They also make a joke about how Brandon Routh is Superman, which is one of the highlights of the crossover. He's like, "Wow, Supergirl really looks like my cousin."
Nice.
Yeah, that was good. Yeah. So this is this is a weird mixed bag of an episode. Like, I like Nate really being a horn dog, but it doesn't make sense because there's nothing to set that up in his character.
Yeah.
Like he suddenly become like a character from Porky's.
Yeah, he totally did.
But I'm like, he's really good at it though, so I don't know how to feel about this.
Well,
That's basically the character he played in the movie College.
Oh wow.
Just when they were showing all of them and where they were at in the 80s when they were watching Young Ray, how he was the one who was dressed like Biff Tannen and polishing a DeLorean. I thought that was pretty great.
That was good. That's good. I didn't really notice that.
Now this is a time machine.
Yeah,
that's good.
Totally wearing Biff's jumpsuit or whatever the tracksuit he was wearing when he was polishing the car after Marty came back to the future.
Wow.
When Biff was his slave, for lack of a better term.
So I liked that,
it was
but I didn't like the bicycle.
It was when Biff worked for.
Yeah.
For Marty's dad.
Yeah. That was good. Like it's the kind of stuff that you have to point out to me later. I'm like, okay, that's good. I like that. It was subtle and it was not. A giant.
Subtle might not be the word for it, being that it was a DeLorean.
Well, subtle compared to subtle to them doing the Amblin logo. Like
subtle to them having an alien in a backpack in the front of a bicycle that's flying. Yeah, gotcha.
And like okay. Also, that effect shot. I know I'm making fun of it and I'm very against it. It's a good effect shot. It was well done.
No,
it looked very good.
For a TV show, yeah, it looked great.
It was very good looking. I did like Ray being in the Amblin logo as well. That was nice. That aside, though, why do we need this? In the same way, we didn't need George Lucas to be in an episode in season 2, and we didn't need a bad actor doing a bad impression of George Lucas.
No. You mean with the worst beard of all time?
Yeah, that was real bad. Certain times they go a little bit overboard with some of their references, and I think this is an episode where that kind of happens, and it's just too packed full of jokes and in bits, and it's like, we get it. The writers of these shows, they're all nerds. Ha ha ha. We're all having fun here, but it's like, you don't need to show us your nerd card every week.
You don't need to slather it on that hard, guys. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, we get it. We're already here.
Exactly.
We're watching The Flash.
Yeah, we're watching a show about superheroes on the CW. Like that's I think you've already got your audience. So
yeah. You gave your heroes in this show a ship that looks like the Millennium Falcon if you squint it.
Oh Jesus, yeah.
Like you don't need to do this.
Looks more like the Ebon Hawk.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, if you squinted at that, it's the Millennium Falcon. It very much is. But yeah, I guess the part that we haven't really talked about is the stuff with Martin, which, okay, I get why. I get it. I don't know why he didn't just tell them that he wanted to see his son or his grandson. I think we all would have understood that. I don't think he needed to hide anything from anybody, but I get it. It's like, it's a way to manufacture drama. It's a way to give Mick and Jack's scenes to shoot, and lines to read, so you don't have to write another side plot for everybody else or come up with something different. Maybe manufacture some other sort of thing that may keep them, maybe they have to work with Martin to solve some sort of singularity that blocks them from leaving, something.
Anything better than figuring out what
Yeah, other than revelation.
The thing is, I was very angry during this that whole plot.
Yeah.
Not because of the episode. It's because I was playing Resident Evil 4 on my Xbox, and I was in the water room, and
Oh God.
I was dying and dying and dying, kept shooting whatever her face is in the
Why
face.
did I pick video game playing co-host? I don't know. I have no idea.
Because Because
Yeah.
3/5 of us do a podcast about video games.
I know, and I picked all three of you. I could have said no, I don't want to be part of this, but I said yes. So, but yeah, I don't know. This was a strong week overall. So I can't say like this episode is terrible.
No, I
Okay,
definitely can't
so
say that.
Connor said something in the show chat.
Mm-hmm. The Ronnie thing.
Yeah, but is his name really Ronnie?
Yes, and I get why it would make you cry at first if you really liked the Ronnie character as displayed in Flash Season 1, and a little bit of Season 2. Not much though.
And a little, and like a very pinch in Season 3.
Yes, that's right. And
Should have been
still
Savitar.
angry. Yeah, it should have been fucking Savitar. I stand by that. That would have been the better twist. Yeah, the problem is, and I get why you could make the argument, but they haven't shown us on screen. This is a character that Martin's daughter had. His daughter had this baby. As far as we know, and unless I missed something in Legend Season 2, as far as we know, she had no interaction with Ronnie or Caitlin from Flash Season 1. The Ronnie character has no connection to her as a person. Alan, unless you remember something that I don't, because I don't remember them ever even, establishing that they worked together. She didn't say that she worked at Star Labs, because Martin didn't work at Star Labs. Martin worked somewhere else, and he visited Star Labs, and he became Firestorm by accident. And again, his daughter didn't work at Star Labs either, which would change how his plot, causes him to become Firestorm in the first iteration of Firestorm on the show. So there's no connection between those characters, and there's no reason that character should be named Ronnie. And because his only importance is to Martin, and Martin convincing his daughter that a man she's never met, his namesake, should be her son's namesake makes no sense. It would be like,
when you put it that way, yeah.
it would be like if Erik had another child, and he named it after his father-in-law's best friend, who he has no connection with. Like, it would make no sense, right?
Yeah. No, that makes that. I mean, what you're saying makes sense. That it wouldn't make sense. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You have
But
to
I
ask
get it.
Matthew Muller.
I mean, it makes less sense than Ben Solo,
Yeah.
somehow. But yeah, like I didn't get that. I mean, initially I was like, oh, that's a nice choice, and then the logic started to kick in, and I was like, wow, that doesn't work. Yeah. And is this the other show where cigars show up? Because there were two shows with
Yes.
cigars.
Yeah.
Yes,
Um,
I was going to point that out, but
And
yeah,
Mick
it was
offered-
also because of a baby.
Yeah, Mick offered a cigar, and Mick was like, "And here's to you, little man."
He's a. I love it.
I also love the when they were going to where the Wave Rider was parked.
There's
see
just
this-
a note.
Yeah, be back soon.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
borrow the Wave Rider, be back soon.
Yep.
Yeah. Also, on another note, maybe the baby should have been named Martin. Because something that they might be setting up is maybe the baby is gonna take Martin's place. Because time travel, wibbly wobbly, timey wimey.
Well, because at the end, Jack asked Ray to find if he could find a way to split Firestorm.
I was
Yeah.
just having visions of a baby and Jax combining to make Firestorm.
So good.
A baby with a
Any way you want to go at it,
Ghost
it would
baby.
be good.
Well, if we go by the rules as established so far, the younger body is the host body usually. So
I love this, the image in my head of a baby in that costume.
Yes.
so good.
Yes.
A baby with the Firestorm costume would be the best.
Yes.
But the opposite is Jax is just riding around with his Firestorm powers, and he just hears baby voices all around.
Yeah, it just hears incoherent baby babble the whole time.
Or crying.
It's just like fart noises and like.
Exactly.
That would be hilarious, and he just starts to go crazy a little bit. But yeah, I hope that's not what happens, and that they find like a future version of Martin, maybe from the 2049 or 2042 storyline that we've already seen, or some sort of other resistance version of this new Ronnie.
You mean 2046?
Yeah, no, which one was it? It was because there's one episode in 2046 and there's one in 42, and one of them we visited this season. So,
so Ronnie, apparently he was a character, or at least he was one half of the Firestorm Matrix in prior seasons of Legends, correct?
No.
No.
The season of Flash.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
They killed off Ronnie in season 2.
Was he reluctant to be Firestorm, or was he totally into it?
He didn't want it at first.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
At first, there was this whole thing where he first shows up as very, very early on. There's like this myth that people keep talking about of like a man who's on fire walking around Central City, and nobody knows who that is. And it's this thing where Caitlin finds out that it's Ronnie, but the thing is that they don't have complete control. So every single time that she comes up to him, it's Martin's mind, and it's Martin like get away from me, or whatever, and don't come after me again and stuff like that. And then mid-season finale, and I guess I'll spoil this for you. Barry fights Eobard Thawne during the Christmas episode sort of thing that they did, and he is getting his ass handed to him. And he loses that fight, like decidedly he loses that fight, and the only reason that he survives is because Ronnie shows up and kicks Eobard's ass.
He just throws a fire bomb at him and just basically what I do in Dark Souls.
Yeah, and it kind of incapacitates him, and he has to run away because he just can't keep fighting him, I guess. So yeah, that's sort of how that shakes up, and I don't remember if they help fix him from then on, or if he disappears again.
No,
but
then
I asked about Ronnie being reluctant was because I know in the comics, at least, when Ronnie and I'm not sure who the newer version of Firestorm was. I know it was a young black man and his girlfriend became Firestorm. But the Ronnie character, who is one of the original members or part of the Firestorm Matrix, along with the older professor, he was very reluctant to do it again. So that's why I was curious about the whole, if Ronnie wasn't reluctant, I wonder if they will bring a future Ronnie in and he will be super reluctant.
Maybe. That would be interesting. They do, fix him, kind of, and they separate them. And they sort of come to a point where they're able to, choose to unite with each other. And they kind of leave for a little while because I think they
go to
have
Pittsburgh.
to go on the run. Yeah, they do.
Okay.
From
But-
Isling.
Yeah, and then they come back at some point.
They come back at about episode 22, 23.
Yeah, they come back to help deal with Eobard. But
It's
yeah,
actually
that's sort
it's
of
actually Martin that is the end of Eobard.
yeah, he is. And that's an interesting thing that happens.
But the thing, the main difference with the comic version of Ronnie is that he's more like Jax, and if you remember season 1 when Caitlin was looking into the Firestorm project, she met with Jason Rush. He's who Ronnie is mainly based on.
Okay.
Like Ronnie was a what's the term for an athlete in high school?
I don't remember. He's like, but I know what you mean. We're getting deep into Firestorm more.
Yeah.
Not intentional. But yeah,
Back to Legends.
yeah, this episode, it's mostly good, I guess.
Yeah.
Like, again, a little overdoing it on some of the references. I did like the Mominator joke. That was
Yeah.
really good.
That wasn't bad. Yeah.
Yeah, again, I do like, ultimately, I like Nate being a Porky's character and him, and I like his joke. He's like, and now I have to go clean my mouth out forever. And he's
No,
like,
now I have to go
"But
brush
why?"
my teeth forever. Yeah.
And then at the very end, he's like, "You made out with my mom?" Well, I didn't. That was great. Technically, I didn't make out with your mom, but yeah, that was very good.
I made out with the Dominator and I liked it.
Well,
God damn it.
the thing is, like, they just spent, 3 episodes of him being all heartbroken and lovelorn over Vixen being gone. Now she's back, and they're kind of reestablishing a relationship of some sort.
Right.
And then they have him do this in this episode.
It's really weird.
Yeah.
She has to be like the female character who's like, really?
Yeah.
Really? You're the horny guy in every movie. Like, and her exasperation gets really boring at some point.
Yeah.
So that was not my favorite thing. And wow, we are at 2 hours. Damn it. Time flies. I'm bad at hosting, guys. Very
That's
bad.
okay. One quick thing. I did like at the very end how everybody showed up in costume, including Isis in her costume, and she's like, "How do you fight in these things?" And the fact that those 2 guys that were bullying Ray earlier in the episode were dressed in skeleton costumes. Yet another 80s movie reference.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did like the Prince kid. He was the best.
Mhm.
Um,
Oh, there's also a line that has to be in it because it's a Halloween episode. When the Dominator is running by.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Whoa, nice, or whoa, awesome costume.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
that's the
I
Prince kid who says
hate
that.
shit like that.
Yeah, I don't mind it. It's something. It's one of
I've
those
seen
things.
too much of it, and I'm sick of it at this point.
Yeah, it's like there's always somebody who hasn't seen that though, so we got to remember that. Like
Yeah.
these shows, Legends and Flash especially, they do actually like lean young a little bit. Like kids do watch these sometimes, so I'm not surprised that joke is in there. So I guess we got any like final thoughts on Legends. I think we can kind of wrap it up.
Yeah. I mean, my biggest thing, and it's like I said in the chat earlier, is that I don't think Legends is inherently a bad show. I'm having a hard time really getting into it because I feel like it's too many plates being spun, while all the other shows have the benefit of having just a smaller core cast.
Yeah.
And they're not trying to show 6-7 different people using superpowers at different times in an episode.
It's interesting because I think what made last season so strong is the fact that it was a team and that they were focusing on the entire team in a much better way, and the team was stronger compared to the first season where there were two actors and two or three, depending on the episode, actors who were not as strong as everybody else. So that really brought the show down.
What's the setup for next episode?
I don't actually remember what the setup for next episode was.
Yeah.
I don't,
because it's being written by one of the writers of Freak Show, the Freak Show episode.
Oh, that'll be interesting.
Yeah, Grain Godfrey.
Yeah, I like that episode, so I don't know.
Yeah, it's
I'll be
titled
interested
Return
to
of the
see.
Mac, which just makes me think of Can't Hold Us.
Interesting. It's weird. I don't ever remember what the next episode of Legends is going to be. I'm always surprised when I get there. But yeah, overall I thought this was a good episode, I guess. So I think we can kind of. So yeah, let's do plugs now because there was no news this week. Nothing. There was no Ben Affleck is blah 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 or something like that.
It's just the continuing horror of finding out people that you might have liked as an actor are actually shitbags.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah,
God.
but that's a different conversation for a different venue.
Yeah. So yeah. I guess I'll do my plugs first.
Wait, I just looked at a quick promo for next week's episode of Legends. It looks like it's either a vampire or undead episode.
Oh, okay. Yes. So it's like they're vampires in Venice almost. Although it looks nothing like that episode, but still. Doctor Who, yay, came back. We need to bring back the Doctor Who references because they're my favorite thing. Yeah, so that's the thing. Vampires. I mean, I'm okay with vampires being canon in this universe, so I can't wait. Oh, Constantine set photos. That's interesting. Can't wait for that to play out. Yeah. So,
and episode 10, Daddy Darkest.
Okay, plugs. My name is Arlen Haro. You can go to my Tumblr, which is spacecolumbo.tumblr.com, for all kinds of weird thoughts and rebloggings of things and posts about Warhorse. So yeah, go there. Not the movie Warhorse. The Denver Airport horse who is blue.
Oh, the blue one. Yeah, that's where the Illuminati have their FEMA death camps underneath the swastika.
Yes, that Warhorse.
Were you just talking in a Jesse the Body Ventura voice?
It was really good too.
Don't
Jesse the Body.
You tell him, McMahon.
I've seen a lot of things in my time, but I've never seen any lizard people, David Icke.
God damn it. I love Jesse Ventura.
Oh, God. I love the fact that he's a crazy conspiracy guy now. I could talk like that for hours.
It's the best. But yeah, that Warhorse. Look for posts about that. So yeah, go there. And also, phantomzone.wordpress.com. Share it with your friends. Subscribe on the YouTube. Link is there. So yeah.
You can follow me on Twitter at UnworthyMirror. You can follow me on Instagram at ComicsBoy, where I post only some comics panels that I like or enjoy. I rarely post bad ones.
Anything else?
Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe to Video Game Hour on iTunes, because it's kind of an ego boost. I'm not gonna lie, it's an ego boost, and yeah.
Well, you deserve it, Allan. You deserve any boost that you get. So,
I'm not really on many social media aspects other than I'm on Facebook in the Phantom Zone group.
Yes. Also, thank you to Eric Dudley, who provided provides the theme for this show.
Yes, also a group member. So yeah.
Yeah. And if you want to follow me on Instagram, it's Erik_Fedor, Fedor, and you can see me post lots of pictures of my puppy and
Yeah, I'm
sometimes
enjoying
comic
that.
stuff.
Such a good puppy.
He's such a good doggo. He's such a good doggo. He's going to be a gigantic doggo eventually.
Yes, we don't deserve doggos.
No,
We never have.
No, never will.
But they deserve all of our hugs and loves.
Yes, they do.
All of them. All right.
The one,
so
the
this
one I'm
is-
looking at right now looks like he's crying.
Well,
Well, he's a puppy. He's
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, that's
He
puppies
does.
for you.
He does puppy things.
Yep. All right. This is your Phantom Zone podcast for this week. Bye. Welcome back to Apocalypse. Bye.
See you, everybody.